Welcome back to Kaulig Nation, your one-stop shop for all things Kaulig Racing, Dinger Nation, SVG Nation, and more. First and foremost, right out of the gate, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, slash that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future content that we have coming. As the video reads, Kaulig Racing and RCR become one. A direct quote taken from Chris Rice. We're going to dive into the Xfinity race review here towards the end and Daniel Dye signing. Our multiple choice question for this video, USVG fans are going to like this one. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you, 10 being high, 1 being low, that SVG is going cup racing and more importantly with Trackhouse racing in 2025? Like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications to all, as I just said. Follow us on social media. We got a pretty active Twitter, X account, whatever you want to call it, at Kaulig Nation. I know I've had some people ask about Instagram. It's just not something we've done yet. But let's dive into the nitty gritty of this video. And that is this. We tweeted out this morning. Good morning. Last night didn't end how we wanted it to, but I'm proud of Kaulig Racing and AJ Dinger. There hasn't been enough attention paid to the article written by Candace Spencer and Catchfence. Big changes for Kaulig and RCR as they unofficially become one team. So we open it up here. But as a whole, Kaulig is transitioning to a fresh approach for next year. The company, located on the RCR campus, will adopt a symbiotic relationship with RCR. Kaulig Racing's 3 full-time Xfinity Series teams are developing a one-team approach with the 2 and 21 at RCR. AJ Allmendinger will work closely with Austin Dillon, Kyle Busch, and a second Kaulig Cup driver still to be named. We talked about in the last video how Hemrick is trying to come up with enough sponsorship to hang on to that ride, but it's definitely an open gambit at this point. You got the likes of Daniel Hemrick, Chandler Smith, Riley Herbst, Ty Dillon, maybe even Austin Hill as possibilities for that ride. Rice said the new strategy is the only way to survive under the current NASCAR landscape. We've all struggled. RCR struggled. Kaulig has struggled. So it's time to become one. We've been a partner there since we got in the sport. Matt Kaulig has always been aligned with them. So it's time to become one. We're not exchanging money or any of that. Well, that remains to be seen. But we're going to be one team. When we leave Welcome, North Carolina, it's going to be 2 and 2 Cup cars, and it's going to be 4 and 5 Xfinity teams. I think he misquoted there. Basically, they're going to leave as 4 Cup cars all working together and 5 Xfinity cars all working together. All of NASCAR's alpha programs enjoy technological alliances. Team Hendrick works closely with Spire Motorsports. Well, I think in that one, you got to take that one with a grain of salt. I don't think Spire has benefited nearly as much as they'd like to from that Hendrick relationship at all, really. Team Penske has a partnership with the Wood Brothers, and while 7 miles separate Joe Gibbs and 2311, the 6 squads act as one big Toyota Racing factory team. I think the difference here is this. Kaulig already had that relationship that Spire has with Hendrick, or that relationship that the Wood Brothers have with Penske. Kaulig already had that with RCR. This is more along the lines of, to my understanding, of what it is with 2311 and Joe Gibbs Racing. Their partnership is a little more close working. Obviously, maybe not in quarters, but most of the equipment is damn near identical. And you might notice that the success of those teams are far closer than the other comparisons that are given there. This is, to me, this is a big deal for Kaulig Racing, because you're throwing a lot at the wall here, hoping it works out. You don't know who the driver of that 31 car is going to be. We believe the other Kaulig Xfinity car is going to be Christian Eckes, maybe announced as soon as this week. You just don't know until you get further along. You needed to make changes, And I know they say there's no money exchanged. I have a hard time believing that. But, you know, for me, anyways, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That is the definition of insanity. In this case, I think they're taking a swing at it. I hope this isn't surface level stuff and they're just, blowing smoke up everyone's behinds. I hope this is tangible. And if it is, we should see an improvement with Kaulig Racing moving forward. Um, what did everyone think of last night's Xfinity race? I'm going to just recap it briefly here in terms of the Kaulig drivers. Josh Williams avoided a couple of wrecks, kept clean, was, a borderline top 10 car. Wish he would have had a little bit more speed under the hood to be able to give AJ a more reliable drafting partner. Um, SVG last night was, it was a struggle for him. Chris Rice mentioned it himself. I had mentioned on our live stream watch party that maybe something might have been broke on the car. Turns out there was nothing broken on the car. Cars were just set up to be very quick, but that also meant not handling great. And SVG was just having an issue with that. He doesn't have much super speedway racing under his belt, and I'm not surprised that that ended up being an issue for him. That being said, the wreck he avoided by Brandon Jones was something else. But the wreck he avoided that was one of the big ones there, wow. Just absolutely incredible on his part. I think he avoided somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 7 cars. Easily could have got collected. He did not get collected. And therefore, he made it through. Sadly, much like in baseball, strike one, strike two, strike three, and you're out. There was another big one where he could not avoid it. There was nowhere for him to go, and it basically ended his day. Um, in terms of Allmendinger last night, you really couldn't have asked for more. He led the most laps of the race. The car had speed. It reminded me of the days of him, Haley, Chastain, even him, Haley, and Jeb Burton at one point. He was right there for the win at the end. Maybe some bad pushing didn't help, but it was also a late block attempt by him. Just all in all, an unfortunate situation. A car that could have and probably should have won last night's race ends up finishing 24th. And I watched AJ's interview afterwards, and obviously he was quite pissed off, and I get why he'd be pissed off. I was pissed off too on the live stream. I was just very silent about it. I didn't want to blow up. So obviously we were hoping for a better day. It was there for the taking. The win was there for the taking, and it just didn't happen. The other news yesterday, Daniel Dye will drive the number 10 Xfinity car for Kaulig Racing in 2025. Daniel confirmed on an interview on Sirius Satellite Radio that most of his partners that support him now in Xfinity, but also in truck, will be returning to support his Xfinity run in 2025 with Kaulig. I also believe it's a multi-year deal for Daniel. I don't think it's one and done. So that secures that ride. It gives that ride some funding, some sponsorship, and Daniel Dye, in my opinion, is a pretty good B prospect. Long-term guy, could be a cup option 3-4 years down the road. But I think what this does is having the 11 and the 10 paid for next season is it gives them the ability to go out and get a Christian Eckes in the 16 who brings little to no funding but a ton of potential, and get away with having to self-fund a lot of that car. So there you have it. That's going to do it for our video today. Please like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications to all. Join us on our next live stream. Hope to see you out there. Really appreciate everyone's support. Follow us on X and Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Kaulig Nation, or we're on Facebook at Kaulig Nation, Dinger Nation, or SVG Nation, which is still under construction. And keep in mind that our coverage of SVG won't end just because he's leaving Kaulig. Ryan and I, believe it or not, are big SVG guys, and we'll be following going forward. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy Daytona. It's probably on right now if you're watching this video, and we'll see you in the next video.